Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And today, if you don't mind, I would very much like to continue on with our journey, our discussions, our discoveries, and our explorations with respect to the recent releases made by the Criterion Collection during this year of 2023. And that brings us to a release which is a Blu-ray edition, 2 discs in this Blu-ray edition with 2 films, 2 feature films. And these are, this is a release that has been designated by Criterion at spy number 1172. And these are works which are from the filmmaker Marguerite Duras. And the name of this collection, the name of this release is India Song, BAXTER, VERA, BAXTER, 2 films by Marguerite Duras. This is the release, again, given spy number 1172, and the films are India Song and BAXTER, VERA, BAXTER, or BAXTER, VERA, BAXTER. India Song is from 1975, and BAXTER, VERA, BAXTER is from 1977. And it is given this treatment by Criterion of this 2-disc Blu-ray set or Blu-ray release in this plastic casing, and the discs are stacked like so. And I've taken the liberty of removing the booklet, but the booklet will go on the left-hand side of the plastic casing, the interior plastic casing here. India Song and BAXTER, VERA, BAXTER, each given its own disc in this 2-disc Blu-ray release of 2 films by Marguerite Duras. India Song and BAXTER, VERA, BAXTER. I must say that, well, let us talk about each of these films individually a little bit later, but first, just generally speaking, I must say that I am so thrilled. I am so thrilled that these films have found this type of physical media release expression in the form of this Criterion release, this Blu-ray release. There's going to be some comments I have some comments about some other aspects, such as the supplements and the like, and I'll get to that a little bit later, of course. But if I were to focus on the films themselves at a very general level, let me say that this is a release that I was so looking forward to because of the power of the films and because of the elliptical, cryptic, and haunting nature of each of these films, respectively. And they have a real sense of wonder, and also a sense of sadness and melancholy, and a real air of mystery, and also this very highly constructed way of using both sound, voices, and images and place. And there's this way in which things feel of the moment on the one hand, but at the same time there's this huge sense of displacement and lack of unity, and a feeling of isolation, and a feeling of a sense of maybe disillusionment along the way. And that is, I think, very purposefully applied, and it's done with such verve and a great sense of powerful and wonderful audaciousness that I think is really quite exemplary. And therefore, the voice of Duras as an artist, as a filmmaker, of course, Duras is such a almost in terms of the various forms of art and expression and writing that Marguerite Duras has expressed throughout her incredibly famous career. Filmmaking is but one component of that artistic output, or filmmaking and directing, I should say, is but one component of that amazing output and that amazing career and that amazing life as an artist. But to have these expressions of Duras as the director, and 2 very potent and powerful and quite iconic films in many ways in the form of India Song and BAXTER, VERA, BAXTER, to have them in this one release like this, I think is incredibly I find myself incredibly fortunate to be living in these times to be able to say I can watch these two films in the singular release like this. And so that's my way to try to suggest to people who have not yet seen the films of Duras to give these films a chance. There's a sense of challenge about them, I do admit. I do admit that for example, when I first saw the film India Song for the first time many years ago, I was quite perplexed by it, and I didn't quite know how to take it. I didn't quite know how to comprehend it, and so I was struggling with it. But as I got older, and as I settled down with my life, and I had a number of I got married, and I as I say, grew in years and life experience, as it were, in my own subjective way. I would watch India Song, and I would think that this was something that really hooked me and really grabbed me. And I think, as to take that as an example, there's a sense in which there is this idea of time and memory, and also regret, and also relationships, and also friendships that were forged but broken, links that were made but lost, ideas that were swirling but then confused and abandoned, etc., and not quite knowing where one is at the moment. And I can say that type of feeling can really become very potent, at least for me anyway, as the years pass. And so in that respect, I think a film like The Viewing of India Song was a very overwhelming one, and I was so taken with this. So that's an example of how I felt in terms of the artist and style, the artistry and style of Duras in the form of her works India Song and BAXTER, VERA, BAXTER. So there is a way in which this film has a sense of displacement and disillusionment, and also in ways it does alienate, and it does have a sense of isolation. But there's also a way in which that's also, I think, purposely applied in order to get at something very deep-rooted in the course of, say, the human condition, in the form of this cinematic voice. So that's my way, a very general way to try to suggest how much I really admire and love these works. And this release by Criterion, there are some points that I'd like to say, maybe some critical points that I will focus on a little bit later. But if we're talking about the films themselves, we're talking about the importance of Duras as a cinematic voice and an artist, filmmaker, director. This is a very important set indeed. So I'm encourage anyone who is curious about the works of Duras to go here. These are the films to watch, and this is one of the highlights of the year so far for me. So anyway, that's just a general statement about the two films by Marguerite Duras.